It's 7 o'clock. I'll call a meeting of the Common Council to order. Take the roll call, please.
Barrett,
Here.
Schmidt,
Here.
Berth,
Here.
Banky,
Here.
Siebert, here, Loop.
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 21st, 2020 reorganizational meeting as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Barrett,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert, aye, Loop.
Aye.
Business and Communications as presented by Mayor Melky to appoint Mary Locke to the Plan Commission. I just want to explain, I apologize to Mary because it was an oversight that we did not catch us when we did a reorganizational meeting. She replaced Mr. Belangi for the term of 2018 through 2021, and I'll make that, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Just again, I want to apologize that that was missed. Take the roll call, please.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert, aye, Loop,
Aye.
Barrett.
Aye.
Persons desiring to be heard from the floor, Director Cowell.
Good evening. Just an update on department activities this month. One of the major things, we do have the 2 new employees on board working with us now. That would be Mr. Andrew Manette and also Jacob Devich. So that's good. We do have on your agenda, one of our employees is retiring, Tom Termont, and I'd like to thank him for his years of service with the city, almost 30 years. Activities we've had, we went after a lot of trees that were of structural damage nature this past winter and last fall. We've got a stump grinder in the spring, and we're now restoring the lawns on those areas. There were over, I believe, over 38 stumps. We do have one that we missed, and we'll be getting that one. So, and I did give the stump grinder's name to the park system because they have some stumps possibly in Badger Park too. I also, we're coordinating some curb repair in the community right now. In several different areas where the curb has been damaged or settled at different times. So that's ongoing right now. And that's being done by a contractor, and then we're backfilling behind the curb and seeding. The sweeper, the good news is it's up and running again. It has been repaired. That was the hydraulic pump that cracked in the shaft that broke on it, that runs the whole sweeper end. And it is repaired and is out this week. In that note, the last day to put leaves on the street is May 15th for the public's information. And what we did to keep up with the leaves is while the sweeper was down for 2 weeks, we used a dump truck and loader and picked up the bigger piles, which helped a lot. But it also put us behind in getting other parts of the city that don't have curb and gutter. We had to keep the curb and gutter areas clean because that debris would clog the basins and we'd have flooding. So we concentrated on those. Now that we have the sweeper that caught up, we have been removing piles from other parts of the community. We've been doing a tremendous amount of chipping. It seems with everybody at home, they're clearing their yards and brush, and it's been a steady activity. And we did make one full round through the city, finally caught up, but now we're going back again, and we have not been through all the alleys yet. This Thursday starts our directional flushing program on our water system. That usually takes about into July to complete, one night a week, usually Thursday nights from here on out. This year we're doing a little different. We're trying to keep our two main operators not working together, so we have the third operator working. One Thursday we'll work with one of the main operators, and the next Thursday we'll work with the other on flushing. We decided to keep going with the flushing rather than wait, because so many other things going into homes we can't do right now. So when we're able to do those tasks, we're going to be behind and trying to catch up on those. So we decided to keep going with flushing at this time. Had long conversations with the Department of Natural Resources on biosolids options for the community, and I'll be reporting back to the wastewater treatment, to the Water and Wastewater Board at their next meeting. We did have a outage of the control system and the main lift station last Friday, and we had to run it on hand. Rich ran it on hand for a little bit, and we got Energetics who handle our the SCADA system came up, and we replaced a part that's gone out a couple times on us there, and they're not sure exactly why. They were up today trying to troubleshoot some more to see what's causing that to fail.
What part?
A part in the PLC that operates the controls, and like this time the whole panel was just question marks. You could get nothing out of it, so it's happened I think once or twice before. So those are the main things we're concentrating on at this time.
Where are they gonna start flushing?
Flushing will be, I believe we're on the west side this year. I'm not sure the exact area. But the whole community needs to be aware of it, because you could stir up any part of the city by flushing. It
Right.
doesn't necessarily stir up where you're at. It could be anywhere.
And houses around that area are normally told that, or?
No,
No?
no, we advertise in the paper,
Okay.
and we do it at night. And it's worked pretty well. We isolate the neighborhoods. Directional flushing is where you close off the incoming lines and go straight down one line so that your velocities are high enough to scour the manganese deposits and the rust deposits out of the main. That's the goal. The old style was you just open the hydrant, let it go, but that didn't get the velocities to the scouring. So it takes a lot longer this way. This is something we have to do. It was implemented by the DNR we were ordered to do it about 6 years ago. The city, there was a long stretch where the city didn't do any flushing for quite a while. So that's where that is. That's that. The wastewater treatment plant is back on chlorination and dechlorination as of May 1st, and so Rich has gotten that system back up and running. So that's where we're at on that. We also have a blower motor we have to pull out there that needs some work. So that'll be shipped out. Those are some of the ongoing things we have happening right now. If anybody has any questions, I can try and answer.
I have a question. Are the sweeper repairs under warranty?
No, that sweeper was used when we bought it. That was not a brand new sweeper. So it's a 2015. So it's 5 years old already. No, there's no warranty on it.
I was just gonna say, if people are wondering when you're flushing, it's also on the city calendar. I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's
So-
on the website too, yes, yeah. It's Thursday nights for the next 2.5 months, so, starting at 9 o'clock. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Kelly Yankee?
Kelly.
David.
I don't think she heard.
Hello, I'm Kelly Yankee, that's my husband Jim, and we're here on behalf of Brown's Corner this evening. What Brown's Corner is proposing is to put a small outdoor patio seating area out in front of the building. It'll be fenced in. not a temporary fence will go, around it for the summer months, and then it'll come down in the winter. We'll have some bistro tables in there to seat two, and we'll have them, 6 feet apart for the social distance. And we'd like to have that up, in operation hopefully by the 26th of May, when, hopefully the Safer at Home order will be released. Part of our, liquor license states, it does not include that area for consuming any alcohol on the property, so what we're asking tonight is that you give us that provision until our liquor license expires the end of June, and then we'll renew, with that added. So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
This is street side, correct?
Yes.
How many of them?
Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, one, she was here. We can ask her back in the next meeting too. Mike?
I was just, is it all abided by any state laws or as far as being close to the road or,
Well, we probably have it back probably about 8 feet from the road. There should be, from the building to the road is 25 feet, so we're not gonna utilize all of that area.
just, make sure that we abide by what the state laws are.
Right.
We don't wanna
And,
get
yeah,
them at us.
no, absolutely not, Mike. As far as I know, it does not. I know Dave, do you?
Oh, no, I can't. Is that the highway sign in front?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Did a nice job explaining it and drawing, and it helps.
Yep.
Yeah, I did provide the drawing, though.
Yeah, and the type of
I really
railing.
should.
It was nice.
You
Not
do
very
that or-
artistic, so.
You do that or Joe?
I did that.
I think it'll look nice, I think it looks nice there.
I think it'll look nice. I'm excited about it too. I think it'll look pretty. It's, again, it'll have the black wrought iron fence around it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And today I actually got a sneak preview of what the furniture looks like, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be nice.
So,
What are you thinking for hours of operation?
we're not changing any hours at all, so it's not gonna turn into a late night drinking area or anything. We serve until 9:30 on the weekends, and that's pretty much where it's gonna be. I mean, we're usually out of there by 10, maybe 10:30 at the latest after we clean up for the evening, so I don't anticipate that going any later. Nor would I want it to,
Depending on the weather, yeah.
Yeah, and the weather is always gonna be a major factor with that.
We're gonna discuss it later too, under license
Yeah.
and voice.
Okay.
Yeah. Personally, I like the idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go far, because we're gonna be discussing it again pretty soon.
Okay, so we ready?
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you. Personnel,
Personnel, we didn't meet, but I guess we're going,
Mike's personnel.
oh, sorry, that's right, changed.
Personnel, I'll make a motion to accept the retirement of Department of Public Works employee Tom Termont, effective May 25th, 2020.
Second?
Any discussion?
I'd just like to thank Tom for all the service that he's put in. I believe he's had,
Almost 30 years.
how about,
Almost 30.
I was gonna say 29, going on 30 years. It's a long time as mechanic and as work, put his time in. So like, good luck to him and all his future endeavors.
Yes, I too would like to thank him. As you can see, our equipment, when he was mechanic, would never have gotten the years of use if he wasn't in that position.
Hmm.
So, we gotta thank him for all that.
Handyman, handyman.
Mhm.
Good to have.
Anyone else?
It's quite the character. Keep the place hopping.
Take the roll call, please.
Berth,
Yeah.
Banky,
Aye.
Sievert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Mike?
Okay, then we have a request from Officer Ryan Nemitz, request to carry over 48 hours of vacation time from 2019 to this year. What happened with Officer Nemitz's is a year probationary period ended at the end of November, thus not giving him the time to be able to schedule any vacation for the rest of the year. And with everything that's happened, it just never gone to personnel so it could be handled, you know. But I'm sure this will be a one-time happening because now he's in the system and he'll be utilizing his vacation after this. So I make a motion to grant carryover.
Second.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Banky,
Aye.
Sievert. Aye. Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Burke.
Aye.
License and police?
License and police. So before us first is the Browns Corner addition. And in the form of a motion, I move that we allow that. However that needs to be worded.
Second.
Do you want to discuss it first if we,
We have a few
I thought we
additions.
had a second and then,
you don't have to
Discuss.
have a motion, you can discuss first.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you make a motion, then you might have to add things and amend and,
okay.
Usually,
Then I
you are right, usually we do wait.
Then I pull that back and then let's discuss.
Okay. Probably what you want to discuss is,
Well, personally, I like the idea of it. Especially since they're looking at using the wrought iron and it's included as a restaurant. I think it's a nice addition to the frontage of our scenery.
do we want to call them back in case we have any questions?
sure, you want to call
Hear
back
what we're saying?
in?
Yankees, will you come back?
Want to wait till they come in, maybe they want to speak
I don't want
to. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Could you explain what you want to do?
No, I had a question for the attorney. In the past, when we have allowed this kind of thing, we ran into a few snags. Since we haven't met on this, can you, I don't wanna stir up things, but remind me where we got stuck? Because I don't see that happening here, but I just wanna make sure that we follow through and learn from the past.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Bridget, because I was gonna raise it as well. I have no concerns about these owners and
Right.
and doing this. The problem is with a liquor license, once granted, you can't pull it. It becomes part of the overall deal, and there's some law on that as to how you can actually, you know, if you guys sell it to someone else and they're not of the same mindset that you are, and next thing you know, you've got parties going on until bar close out there on your main street. So that is a concern, and the concern being that you, once you amend your liquor license, you're not gonna be able to pull that back. I certainly would be in favor of granting that somehow conditionally. I don't know how we could do that, which would solve that problem, because we could keep control of it, so to speak, but not while you're, you know, operating, but control it afterwards, depending on how it goes. I don't know if there's a way that we can do it conditionally or not. It's been a while since we did that with that last one. I know there was issues with that. But I do know if you pass it, once it's on the liquor license, it's there. It's a legal right that license has with that. So it could be a problem.
You
So I don't know.
can't do it as owner.
Well, that's what I'm
to-
wondering, if
to
there's a way that we
owners.
could do it conditionally or something. And I know Tammy's maybe talked to more than I have.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% positive, but in the past, when bars have changed hands, the new owner has to apply with their application, and it's a new application to approve. And then once we're going to approve it, the seller gives us, they release their liquor license contingent on the new person getting theirs. So whether it's a new entity, I would think we would be able to reconsider then, but I'm, not 100%
Yeah, I think I
sure.
looked at that, I'd like to confirm that before we would do it if we could.
Could we put that in the motion?
You could potentially, I mean, I think there's a difference between putting it on the license itself, because I'm not sure, is the license owned in your individual names or in the corporate name?
Corporate.
Corporate name, see, so that's, a lot of times that'll happen too, and if you sell, a lot of times the people will transfer the corporation, you'll transfer your shares of the corporation to the next buyer, which then the license transfers automatically to that, and then you lose your right to change it, so a lot of things that could happen.
Ours did not transfer automatically. I think we had to apply with how we wanted the liquor license and then.
But because you didn't buy the corporation,
We bought
yeah,
by the corporation.
right.
So I don't-
So, but if the next person comes in and wants to take over your corp,
But they probably
license.
would not be taking over Yankees Venture LLC.
maybe not, probably
so,
not.
Yeah. I-
Probably not.
Just-
So, you know, I guess my thought is, you could make, I suppose, the motion contingent on that, but we have to define what that means, because I
Yeah.
think if you approve it,
Because in the past, I know a liquor license and how it was presented held a lot of clout on, over of what that establishment was
Right.
and was gonna be. You know, and if it had something like that, that might have been a big selling
Selling
point.
point,
And if you got taken away, well, then they're gonna lose out,
Right.
so.
I just do know that last time I looked at it, there was a lot of litigation over that where cities or townships wanted to pull conditions off the liquor license and got in trouble for doing it, so. I'd like to take a look at it to address that concern if we could. You know, it still wouldn't affect you guys because we could still approve it, but hopefully contain it as much control as we can over that license in the future.
But then again, you still got ordinances that you can work with to kind of control anything that's going on too.
Yes. Easier said than done, but.
Yeah, but you got it anyway.
You're right, I mean, that's what we've looked at in the past, but it's a little bit harder to deal with. Once issued, I think it's harder to deal with.
Right.
Whereas if you got the other way, you got a little bit more leverage, I think.
Alderman Bruce, did you have a statement?
You still have noise ordinances and you can shut them down that way,
Yes, yes, you
you
can.
know.
Well, if anybody has not ever been to Brown's Corner, it's a supper club, so generally people just come for a couple drinks before dinner, they have their dinner, maybe have a after dinner drink after, and they go. It's not a bar atmosphere where people are sitting there, you know, for long periods of time. We don't have bands,
Right,
we don't do anything like that.
Yeah, like I say, I don't think it's an issue with what
Right.
you're suggesting, just in the future, that's all.
With the license set to expire June 30th, 2020, is that rewritten or is it just renewed?
Does it mean,
It says their license is set to expire June 30th, 2020, so do they reapply? Is it the same license? Could this be changed? It would be 30, what would that be, 35 days later? So they would have 35 days they'd be able to use with whatever our decision is, but then could we take it back after 35 days if we don't, or change it or amend it at that point?
not, I guess not if you change it. If you change it tonight, I think you're stuck with it.
Okay,
Then the
even after
renewal
that?
will include that.
Okay,
So if there's a way that we could make this conditional to allow the use for the 30-some days until the license come up, that would give us enough time to research the issue, maybe that's a solution to it. I guess we decide enforcement on these liquor licenses, so I suppose we could agree to allow because you want to get started right away.
Right, yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
like
so-
the 26th.
To the extent that we can allow that, I wouldn't be adverse to that, and then look at it for the actual renewal of your license to see if we make it permanent or not.
Okay.
Yeah, would the wording be correct to make a motion, to approve the request by, is it Yankee Ventures LLC, with conditions as discussed? Is that,
I don't-
I don't know if I
Yeah,
can approve
if
it
you want to,
temporarily.
retain the right for us to look at it, I don't think you can grant the amendment of the license. I think we could technically grant the use, I guess. We're not going to pursue, any problems with the use of it if you granted the use and looked the other way for the 35 days until the license comes up or whatever. So maybe the motion could be that you're going to grant their request to, I guess, I'm thinking about this, so you haven't done the structure stuff yet, putting up fences or anything like that, and you want to know that before you do it.
Right.
So that's the other problem.
Well, Can we just say in their parking lot? Grant the temporary use of,
Provisional use.
Tammy?
If you say the parking lot, that is the whole parking lot, and again, you
Yeah.
cannot take it away once you
We're
grant
gonna-
well,
the
this
area.
is temporary.
We're gonna define this area, right? That's
Yeah.
the idea.
Yeah, it's right in the front of the building,
Yep.
like between the building and the
Yep.
front row, French Street.
So we can define it as the 12-foot. Is it 12 by
12 foot by
25?
44 foot on the east side.
Oh, yeah. 12 by 44
the east or
foot
south?
area
Ask Ron.
adjacent to the front of the building? Adjacent to the building along Business 41?
In the letter, it says approximately 45 by 20.
Okay.
I,
45 by 20.
I guess would everyone kind of be in agreement that you would want to grant this permit to this organization here that's doing it? But still, you know, so that if we do grant it, maybe, yeah, if you guys are willing to work with us on that, on the next license or something, that we come up with a way to
Right.
retain control of that in the future. If you'd be willing to do that, then
Yeah, I've got-
maybe
I've
I'd
got
feel
no problem
comfortable with
with
that. I think I trust these people, you know, to maybe look into that. That way, if we grant it, they can move on with their project. I'm just concerned in the future, just when you sell it, what's gonna happen to this place? So,
Attorney Spanberg, guys will head down for, because of selling the license down the road, that should we set hours, just in case, I know now you have a set hour, but would hours something we should be looking at including, or in case, you know, down the road selling it?
I'm sure we can, yeah.
Now, is that,
For this place, I
Yeah.
think it could be part of that.
I was trying to follow that we should grant it tonight? Is that what you said last?
Well, because they don't wanna wait 35 days. you
And
know.
I don't want them to have to.
And you don't want that either, right? So, and again, given the fact that you're all kind of agreeing to this at this point, if we grant it, if they're willing to grant it, subject to the idea that you guys are gonna work with me or the council to deal with, what do we do in the future? You know, whether you agree to, make changes in the future, whatever I can come up with legally to
Right.
try to protect it. If you're willing to work with us on that,
Absolutely.
then I feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's no problem.
So what should my motion
So if the
say?
motion would be, if you accept,
I had one more comment before you make the motion. The only other thing, and I did try to contact the building inspector today, because I thought about setbacks.
Yep.
And I don't know what the setbacks are, so it probably should be contingent on working with the building inspector to meet all building ordinances.
We tried as
Local
well
and
today when I was
state,
by
yeah.
Kelly calling, but he didn't answer.
Where is
Liquor
parking?
license doesn't supersede an ordinance.
How is that gonna work with your parking?
It won't affect any of the parking because this is coming out of the, you know, where the three big windows are in the front, Mike, and you're standing on 41. So it's just got that little pathway through there anyways, nobody parks there, so we'll take away the
That's the
park.
place that I always park, that one.
We're taking the VIP parking away from you, Mike.
So the parking's all over here. This is,
No, I think it was answered.
this is the road through town.
Yeah.
Oh.
Putting it right
Attorney Spanberg, are you working on the motion?
Here's,
just right, so things down, yeah.
My only thought was, does that 35 days,
Mike,
to grant them that 35 days, is there a way we can just put that in the motion? I know we don't wanna take away something that we give if you're investing all that money into it though either.
Yeah, I think the only way we can do it is once we grant it, they could say, no, I'm not changing it now. You know,
Yeah.
They got it. So, I mean, if they're gonna agree to work with us on it, I guess that's, we can amend the
I'm
word to
born
do
and
it.
raised in this community,
Right.
so most people know
Right.
who I am.
Yeah.
So I don't, yeah, I think the answer to your question is it's granted, but, you know, if they agree to work with us, we're just gonna try to protect it for future use.
So are we able to put provisions into this? Dealing with the liquor license, you know, provided promise of maintaining normal current hours, or, you know, for, and then, under current restaurant operations, and then based on the attorney checking on the legality of, the liquor license issues and setback ordinance?
Setback, yeah.
You could do that, and I don't know what the time frame is for you guys to get started on this project. I mean, do we have a week or two, or no?
Yeah, I would
Probably
say.
be a week anyway before we would
Right,
start with, with the fencing.
right.
So you could do that, that's a good way to do it.
Alderman Beatty?
I guess, yeah, just, you mentioned the setback, I guess that's where my biggest concern would be. So, I don't wanna see Kelly going to jail because you guys are serving right on the highway, But, I think, there's not a lot of space there, but, I just wanna make sure it's legal. That's my big concern.
Roger, you can take that.
Otherwise, I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Are we ready for official motion?
Sure.
Okay, so, I move that we allow the addition of the seating area conditioned upon the licensee's promise of maintaining current normal hours and under current restaurant operations. Further, based on attorney checking on legality of the liquor license usage and setback ordinances.
Second.
Any other discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Sievert,
Aye.
Loop,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky.
Alright,
That was painless.
we were easy on you.
I
So,
appreciate that.
so the only thing left is whatever last word from him.
Yeah, legal matters.
All right, further in license and police.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Good luck.
thank you.
Thanks.
I move to accept a new application for operator's license for Renee Dimmitt.
Second.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please. Did she?
Yes,
Okay.
she was signed up.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Right?
Sievert.
Aye.
And I move to approve the renewal operator's license for Faye Nesbitt.
Second.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Say where? Just say where.
It's kind of down, halfway down the page, 3/4 of the way down the page. I don't know if it's for the Peshtigo Historic Road, BA, or
Doesn't
usually.
say.
We can check later. It's probably not gonna wait for her. She likes that brown.
Doesn't say.
When they get it though, they are actual, it doesn't matter where they're applying for, it covers anywhere in the city, just serve.
Yeah.
Take the roll call, please.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Sievert,
Aye.
Luke.
Aye. And then you have a report from the police department there.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation?
Is Sean here?
Sean or George.
He was out in the hall.
He is out there. Sean?
Can you, speak on the subject of transferring a lawnmower to Public Works?
Yes, Director Cowell contacted me middle of last week, and he requested that if he was able to have the 71-inch deck side discharge lawnmower that we were going to be selling. And
since he would have priority, we didn't have a problem with that, we just need to get it approved. If there has to be a transfer of anything, I would only ask for $1. Otherwise, I'm okay with it just going directly to him.
Thank you.
Do we wanna hear from George or just both? We're good?
Is it to use down there?
Or
I don't
was it
know.
for George's department?
Oh,
Yeah.
which
On
is,
the lawnmower?
George is
Public
here.
Works?
I know, but I mean like down by the plant or down by the.
Yeah, what's up with it, George?
They wanna hear from you, George. Where are you gonna use the lawnmower?
Well, we have one at the wastewater, but it's not a commercial mower.
Okay.
We also, at well 4, we mow with the flailer, but when that's wet, we can't do it. And then we mow the grass, other than the first 2 passes by the DPW. The first 2 passes are marked right by the road are mowed by the park, but after that, we mow that, and when it's wet, the big case tractor with the agricultural tractor sinks in, so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I make a motion to transfer the, which lawnmower is it? 71 inch?
It's the 71-inch, if I shoot sideways.
The 71 inch side discharge lawnmower.
Support.
Works. Not the new one.
The proper name, it's the Jacobson lawnmower.
Oh, Jake.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Thank you.
Hope I didn't get a second.
Yeah, Mike did.
Mike
Sorry,
supported.
I didn't hear it. Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Sievert,
Aye.
Loop,
Aye.
Barron.
Hi.
Streets and drainage.
Streets and drainage has not met, just like everybody else. We need to discuss and consider the garbage truck bids, and we got those letters in that were due by Friday. Listed at $355 and read every single one. So, at this time, I'd like to open it up to discussion. Anybody else?
I know we had discussed that Streets Committee was going to read the letters and take into consideration the comments. I did not see any concerns in the letters that we have not already discussed, and I still support the side arm garbage truck purchase. I do want to clarify that a couple of the letters seemed concerned about needing a second truck. We do have 2 trucks right now and will always need 2 trucks, but we would only be purchasing 1 truck at this time, and we would use one of our rear loaders as a backup, and we would be able to accommodate that by purchasing a tipper. The new garbage truck, we would only need to take 1 trip with, so that rear loader would be backup only. So we would only be purchasing 1 truck right now.
And that tipper attachment is estimated at less than $10,000, I believe George said. I also would like to state that the other big question or issue that people had was the size of the cans. And I really want them to know, even now, if they're still having a problem with the size of the recycling can, that they can call down, call here, call somewhere, and we can get them exchanged. You still have some smaller ones down there, correct, George? You have 4 left?
4 left.
Okay, so, and if that becomes a big issue, it's something that we can look into as well, at getting some more of the smaller ones. But again, when we do order these, you will have the option of the large can or the small can.
There's actually 3 sizes. Do you want to explain, George? We looked into the 3rd size.
There's a 3rd size? Okay.
I'm gonna take a chair for this thing.
It's a lot smaller.
The containers that are used with that type of system, typically you can get a 32 or a 35 gallon, a 65 or a 95. And right now we're using, recycling, we're using the 95s primarily with 30, we have 30 65 gallon in stock. We have 4 of those left. You don't want to go smaller than that on recycling because the cardboard gets caught in them. But refuse, you can, they're a little more tippy when they get smaller. The 35 would be equivalent to, our present ordinance is a 32 gallon can. Basically matches that. I think that's the sizes that are available to purchase.
There was just one other question that I thought of that was in the letters that I wanted to address, that some were concerned about if you put your garbage can out in the winter, which according to the ordinance currently and for the safety of our city workers, you do need to shovel a space for it right now. But if you were to shovel a space and then you were concerned as to when the plow came by, if you had to go reshovel that, but the arm would be able to reach, still reach the garbage can if the plow came through. So I just
We
wanted to
didn't,
address that question.
we didn't have any problem this past winter with recycling, with maybe to being able to reach the recycling containers after a snowstorm, so.
Debbie?
Did we decide if the citizens were paying for the containers? Are they paying for them, or is the city paying?
I was gonna
for them?
suggest that the city pay for them.
At least the first can.
Well, you have to decide where, it doesn't have to be decided right today, but like businesses, they obviously are gonna need more than one. Do we buy one for them or more? But I would say at least one, and then depending on how many more they would need, they would have to purchase the rest. So,
Yeah, I was just gonna say we haven't decided on that, but I'm also in support of the city purchasing the first can, and we can discuss that at a later date, because we do have funds available, and we have discussed the city purchasing the can.
The only other thing I read in here were people, older people worried about getting it to the street, like, I think it's the same issue they have with the recycle. And why do they have to depend on their neighbor to help them get it out there and bring it back? But,
you're gonna be there someday.
yeah, I
We
know.
all are.
I'm just saying. And I'll tell you, my mom had that same outlook, and it's hard when you have to call people for a ride where you wanna go. It makes you feel even more helpless. And I talked with George today, and I know he probably wasn't happy where I wanted to go with this, but if we go with the cider, that's gonna free up 2 workers. Now, if a person has got a handicap sticker or cannot get anything, why can't that one person, one of the 2, go in the morning, haul those people's cans down? We're a community, we have to look out for each other. Why can't that person haul them down and later on in the day, haul them back up for the person? That would settle most of the things I read as well, on how they're gonna get them down there.
And that was the biggest thing that hit home with me when I was reading those. I mean, I really expected the can size, and it was people's talk about a loss of service. You know, and the reason they live in this community is because it is small, and they don't wanna lose that service, and they don't deserve to. So that's at the same time, it won't be part of this motion or anything else, but I really, as soon as we can get back together and have a streets and drainage meeting, I really wanna look at these costs and different options that we have to take care of things here at the city level, as far as passenger vehicle size, you know, size of using the dumpster, et cetera. But again, that's not something we're gonna sit here tonight and pick through. But as soon as we have the opportunity to get back into our committee meetings, I would really like to look at that.
Bridget?
We had discussed, making sure that those who needed help were helped, whether it was by, groups who were, seeking volunteer opportunities, or just a neighbor, but we had spoken with other communities, and they were all able to accommodate anybody that needed help, when they have been for a while, using the automated, service. So we were confident that we could make sure that those who needed help were taken care of.
I would like to entertain that be put in a motion, that we would take care of our citizens by helping them. Now, recycling's every 2 weeks, garbage is weekly, so that's doubling what they're gonna have to be asking somebody to help with. So I'd like to just see that added in the motion now, so we don't have to worry about that later. Alderman Beatty?
Yeah, in speaking with a couple of my neighbors, concern comes up in winter time, because a hazmat because we went through a winter. And the recyclable bin is out there, and the snowplow comes through and it gets pushed back out of the way. And this person has gone to work, and all of a sudden they don't have their pickup because the snowplow pushed it back. I believe if that's gonna happen, I mean, the citizens are doing their thing, they're doing the right thing, what they're supposed to be doing, and they get pushed aside. Now they have to wait 2 weeks because either it's pushed too far, or you can't get it, or it might have tipped over, and there's stuff all over the place. But I think the snowplow, or whoever's running a snowplow or a truck or whatever, they should try and correct that problem if they do that with those cans.
Director Cowell, with the recyclables, we contract that, but
The
with the garbage.
recyclables are contracted, and of course
But
they're
I'm
not.
just, no, let me finish one, so the garbage would be our personnel, so
Yeah.
we could, like,
If one's
Alderman
to-
Bailey
And
said,
that's
we could ask them.
that's kind of going into
Yeah.
that discussion, that's
Yeah.
why I brought it up.
Yeah, and I'm sure our guys are really good, I'm sure that they don't have a problem with getting out and picking something up either.
I'm not aware of a lot of those calls coming in, Tammy. Have you had a lot with them not being picked up? I have not heard those calls, Mike, but in general, the difference is we have our own personnel. If they see one tipped over, they can take the time to
Right.
go out and pick it up because it's an unusual circumstance. For the contractual guy's gonna go through and get the
Right.
container, but I haven't heard that statement that people were being missed by snowplows, to be honest. So, at least I didn't have to return any calls, let's put it that way.
Archer?
If need be, is it a possibility that if it continues to be an issue or becomes a bigger issue, that we make adjustments to plowing versus garbage pickup time? I mean, I know that throws a wrench into the timely removal of snow off of streets.
Yeah,
but-
you have to get the snow off the streets. It has not been an issue, that I'm aware of. I mean, I think, Tammy, you can speak to it, but as far as complaints, we haven't had that as an issue.
Okay.
I'm not saying it couldn't be, but if they have a space that's not right on the
I'm sure it
curb.
was
not a reported
hypothetical, a
Yeah.
situation that was
Yeah,
talked
I
about.
mean, we have made it through a winter already with recyclables. I mean, we made it through a full winter.
Tammy?
I was just gonna say, I mean, if there is like a huge snowstorm, I'm thinking that, you could have 2 people on the garbage truck that day if you really need to adjust bins or move them for them to actually pick up.
But we've even had,
If it's,
with our present system, we've even had days where we haven't been able to pick up the garbage because of snow. We've had to make accommodations even with the system we have had now. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. So those are things we're aware of. So,
Well, the only thing that I heard, I don't know if she had called, but somebody had told me on a few occasions that when the recycle went through and they picked it up, and, because she puts it in her driveway because it's plowed, and when they put the can down, then it tipped over, so when she comes home to park, the can's, it's in the driveway, and it's tipped over, so she gotta get out, move the can, you know what I mean? That's the only thing that I heard, not a lot of that, but, and that was with recyclable. So,
Do you know if that was a small or large dump?
large.
I have not had, so could be,
Middle of the driveway even.
I haven't heard any problem.
Oh, sorry.
Just with our normal cans today, on windy days, I have to do that
Right.
as well. But with the larger can, I haven't had to do that because that didn't get blown as easily. So
It's not
probably
blowing, it's just, I think when it's set down.
Right, no, I
it
understand
just
that,
gets knocked, yeah.
But I know, but on windy days, the lighter ones that we
Oh,
have
yeah.
now, they just roll all over the place, so.
Go to the neighbors.
We'll probably looking at a 50-50 kind of trade-off on that.
Anyone else?
So I guess I'd like to make the motion to go with the demo unit is gone, you said?
the demo was sold, yes.
So we would be going with the Peterbilt cab over chassis, side winder body, at $261,941, with the city purchasing the first can. How do we want to word that?
Could it be sent out in the water bill, George?
I
For
don't,
them to pick what size they want, so,
excuse me, I would suggest keeping the motion for the truck just clean and just the truck and deal with these other issues when you do your streets and drainage meeting, because you're gonna have a lot of things to go through and think about when you set it up.
Ordinances and everything. I
Yeah,
suppose.
ordinance also have to be changed and.
But I do want to include some of the things that you talked about.
thank you. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna,
Yeah,
it's just on that one item.
yeah.
that-
That we need to find a way, I don't know how to word that.
Accommodations to be arranged to assist those in need.
Yeah,
Very good.
To be fleshed out. Next meeting?
So, I mean, you want to have
Details
that
to be
one.
fleshed out.
Don't forget that items on your agenda, yeah.
Yes, but part of that
Yes.
is details. to
the
be
other
fleshed
item
out.
is review garbage fees, but that's information.
No, I mean, the only item on the agenda is purchase of the truck, not the services. You'd have to put that on an agenda.
Service.
Well, we can make a motion for the purchase, and then we can make a motion for the next part,
We can't make a motion for the next part because it's not described
because
in the
it's
line
not
item.
described, okay.
Can we talk about it in all other matters, or would we still not be able to make a motion in all other matters?
You can speak for it, but not make a motion.
I will remind you.
Okay. So then I guess at this time, we'll just make the motion to purchase the Peterbilt cab over chassis, sidewinder body, new at $261,941.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? I just want to make one comment that I feel better knowing we're still going to be community friendly. We're moving forward, but we're still going to be community friendly, so to help
Yes.
people.
And I also want to thank you for pushing that last time, because I was like, I felt like we were beating a dead horse, we were going over this over and over, but at the same time, I really liked hearing what more people thought than just the people that I usually get to talk to.
And didn't you like where a lot of them started saying, thank you for giving me the opportunity?
Yeah.
So, and that was.
And I want to thank everybody that wrote in also
Yes, thank
for
you.
taking the time.
George, did you have to?
The only thing I would say is on the 35-gallon container, you know, they are a little more tippy, but for someone that has any mobility issues, it's no bigger than the can they have today, plus it has wheels, so it may solve a lot of those issues that you're hearing about actually, because it's the same size as the garbage cans we have. Our ordinance says 32 right now.
Yeah.
We've got the 65 and 95 out there in the hallway, correct, George?
Yes,
Could we get a 35 here to, I know we're
I'm
closed
sure
now,
we
but,
could.
so we have it?
Sure we can, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion?
Mike?
Yeah, what about the issues about businesses that want more than one can?
We'll discuss that at the meeting.
Streets and treatment meeting.
Okay.
Or anybody else? Take the roll call, please.
Berg,
Aye.
Banky,
No.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Maron,
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
And then we have to discuss or review garbage fees. That's the information only.
But if I could, it was to give a report on, basically on the dumpster right now, because it's closed, obviously with the coronavirus, we don't want more people coming down to the garage and back and forth and having to wait on people in person. So what we do have to offer is what we have always offered, which is curbside pickup for a fee. And I would just like to get that information out to the public that we do that, and that's what we've been telling people. They pay for the item and they pay for a small pickup fee, and we pick it up right at the curb. The other option to people, any resident in Peshtigo could also bring their waste for a fee to Morocco landfill. So those are what's available during this time. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Fire lighting and building?
Do we ever have like a spring cleanup day?
No.
Yes, well, last year we had a fall. But again, we are not encouraging additional contact, one-on-one contact.
Right, at this time, but I mean, is that an option to have a spring cleanup day to just so people can get rid of their stuff?
Well, just as like, why we quit taking stuff down by the Public Works Department is because everybody kept bringing stuff there that didn't live in the city.
We
So,
We did have a fall cleanup a fall Saturday open for bringing stuff down last fall. I think if you review the participation level was pretty low,
Very low.
very low. But it is something you could possibly do. There's a fee associated with it, obviously having an employee there on a Saturday, but that's the only additional fee. It was discussed before, and then we said we'd review it, review what was done this first time, and then usually with the dumpster, it's every other month, it's the first and third Monday from 8 till noon. And then with the curbside pickup, it works pretty well, because if somebody has a problem getting in, there's basically just additional pickup, you get the same service. So it hasn't been a problem. What we are seeing, a lot of people are cleaning their garages and stuff right now, they're home, and they have been writing letters to let them know that they have to pay to get rid of those items. We're also seeing a tremendous amount of brush right now.
Rick, were you talking about spring cleanup like they do like in Menominee, where everybody just cleans, puts their stuff on the road, and then, is that what
Right.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because that's not what George is talking about.
No, they no longer do that in Menominee, just so you know, they got rid of that about 3 years ago.
Does Marinette do it?
No.
I just wanna remind everybody too, like I said before, when we get our first streets and drainage meeting, that's one of those things that I really wanna sit down and talk about, if not hammer out that day to make a recommendation. Cause that's one of the biggest, I mean, if you read the letters too, that's the biggest thing. People don't have an opportunity or don't feel like they have an opportunity to get rid of a lot of that kind of stuff like they used to.
That's what we talked about last meeting too.
What?
We talked about that at our last
Yeah.
meeting.
We have discussed this in the past, and a lot more goes into it than what
Yeah,
I
the
feel we
cost.
can discuss
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
now. So like you said, we'll discuss it at our next meeting, and we can discuss what we talked about in the past and how decisions were made and what we need for the future.
Like,
I know, getting into it, we just talked about a lot of neighbors, people in town, they talked about that too, cleaning up. I mean, they paid, we've been throwing all these fees for picking up items and whatnot throughout the last how many years because of not being able to raise that tax rate so we can, pay to do it. So we try to be creative, so that cleanup day would be special for them because that would be a day that they wouldn't have to pay that extra cost and be like one of the days of old, So I'm glad if you put that back on there, it'd be really great. Thank you.
anything else? Fire lighting and buildings?
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, George. We've got our report, activity report from town inspections. Is that what you need?
Yep. Such other matters as authorized by law.
And I'll be right back in 10 seconds.
Thanks for Brian.
Other matters?
This week is Municipal Clerk Week, and I personally want to thank our clerk, Tammy, for all the work she does and is not recognized for it. So everybody.
Speech?
You do a wonderful job, and thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second. Take the roll call. Are you ready?
I'm sorry, what's the second? Banky,
Aye.
Seibert,
Aye.
Loop,
Aye.
Barron,
Hi.
Schmidt, Bird.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.